Hey everyone, it's Lisa from Primitive Gatherings, and I'm super excited today because I get to show you our Red and White Gatherings line of fabrics, quilts, and book. And to make it extra special, we're going to show you some of the inspirations behind these red and white quilts. If you do not know me very well, I am an avid collector of antique quilts, and my favorite thing to do is to recreate them because I am so impressed with what our foremothers and brothers did way back when with limited tools. So that makes me think, oh my gosh, look at these cool quilts that they made with just scissors, thread, cutouts, cardboard cutouts to trace around. So I am super impressed with that, and I love to recreate them much faster with today's quick methods. Now some of the quilts we recreated the same. Some of them we took a little bit liberty. One was so hard we couldn't figure out how to do it, so we had to improvise. So I can't wait for you to see that quilt as well. All right, let's get these quilts started. First off, I want to talk about, here's the book, Red and White Gatherings. This is all set to order right now on our website as soon as this video releases. The fabric, however, is not going to release until October, November-ish. So some of it I think is scheduled to arrive in October and some of it November. So please be patient, but we have some deals for you until October 2nd if you want to pre-order any of the things that we are talking about today. So here is our book. It is $32 and it contains all the things we're going to talk about today. Okay? And then I just want to quickly show you how beautiful the fabric is. This is a fat eighth tower here. So it's 10 creams, 10 bright reds, and then 10 of, like, I would say the claret red. So like true red and claret red, just a smidge in the burgundy direction, but I wouldn't really call it burgundy because if it was by itself, it would look red. We have fat eighth towers, fat quarter towers. I have the fat quarter tower at home in my stash, so nobody can steal that one on me. But then we have jelly rolls and honey buns as well. So if you have your favorite quilt pattern that uses jelly rolls or honey buns, these will work. And there's even amount of light and dark in my pre-cuts. I try to do that on purpose for obvious reasons, so you can make light and dark, right? This is 5-inch charm, 2.5-inch charm, 10-inch layer cakes. So those are all the ways you can pre-order the pre-cuts. Okay, so Heidi, come on, you're gonna help me. She made the mistake of really not listening to what I said. I said, hey Heidi, are you available to help me hold quilts? Oh yeah, sure, anything, whatever you tell me. And then she didn't realize that we were gonna be filming, so.
I just do what the boss tells me.
Right. Okay, so let's start off with the book here. And we do have some sort of method in here that Kaylee has put together. These girls went and did all the photography in the book. It is so amazing. They went to a winery out in Hortonville, Wisconsin. All right, first off here, I do want to tell you that there are a couple quilts that we don't have antiques to. And this, I think the first one is called Red Hots. Now, in some of the quilts we did two ways. So this one contains, now Kaylee, do you want us to flip out in front? This one here contains only one red and then all 10 of the lights. And this is just flip and sew corners, or sew and flip. We always want to say flip and sew, but it's really sew and then flip. Easy quilt, very beginner friendly. So this one is called Red Hots, and this is the one with only one red and 10 creams. Creams or white, whatever you want to. It technically is not true white, but it's definitely really not tan either. So I would call it a light cream. So Red Hots again, only Scrappy, all reds and all creams. So see how that changes the difference there? So let's show them the backings too. This right here I just want to talk about is an overall feather, a nice big feather. It's not really tiny, so it gives it a nice overall. The guys here at Primitive Gatherings have quilted every one of these quilts that we have in this lineup today. This is the backing. If you want to purchase backing with your kit up front, we do give you 20% off of that. See how good you are? See how nice this is when she helps me?
Only took a year.
All right. Now, because of all that stitch and flip, we added a little bonus quilt. Lori made the quilt, and these are all the little cutoffs. So she came up with this cute little quilt, making all the castaways from one of those quilts. It's not even both of them. And sometimes she could use just one fabric in every one, or sometimes she added a little bit of something else to them. So you just use what you have and you make do. The backing on here is a panel left from Redwork Gatherings. So we do have some of that yet too, if you want to put that on the back. Beautiful traditional design of the Baptist fan in this kind of rainbow layout. Awesome. Bonus quilt. And that one is called Red Hot's Bonus Quilt. We put that in there as well. The next one is called Kindred Spirits, and this one we did two ways as well. One quilt is with two fabrics only, one red and one cream. And you can pick your one red and your one cream if you would like. Or you can buy the kit and get these exact fabrics. So I think we picked this red so it looked like it was old and faded, like our antique is going to be. Has a little bit of fade to it. Oh, I forget. Backing. Backing is just the same fabric that we used as the light. And this has like an overall, I would say, 3-inch orange peel design on it. There you go. Same quilt, but only one light and scrappy reds. Makes it much more interesting, fun. Whoa. So there that is. The design on here is modern meander, about 3/4 of an inch apart. Let's flip to the back. Same fabric as on the front of the quilt. And then you can see the quilting there maybe a little better. Okay. Now time for the antique. Now we did do a trunk show, a little pop-up trunk show at the Great Wisconsin Quilt Show in Madison, but we didn't have the antiques. So this is a totally different trunk show. I know, same quilts, but now you get to see the antiques. So knife edge binding on this one. What that means is they bring the back to the front. Oh no, that's not a knife edge. That's just bringing the back around to the front. I'll show you a knife edge later on sometime, but look at how beautiful this antique is. Now you see why we wanted to recreate it. Kind of, it's more subtle like the one with only two fabrics, and then how much fun you can have updating it with all the different scrappy fabrics. And it's okay if you have some reds at home and you want to add to this and use some of your fabrics in with these fabrics as well. That works perfectly. Now on the next quilt, 9 of Hearts, we're going to show you the antique first. This was a funny size quilt. It's kind of long and skinny, but you know what? You know, some guys are long, so maybe that's what this is for. Or maybe it was made for a tablecloth. Who knows? But look at how beautiful this is. All hand quilted with a white thread. They did like a little circle in the alternate blocks and then came out and this straight line quilted. And then there's some sort of leaf design on the border. Okay. They rounded their corners on their, I forget to do that sometimes. That's fun and like another little option to do. is to round your corners, but then you should probably put bias binding on your quilt. All right, let's look at our version of 9 of Hearts. And we made this one the same size. We made that long and skinny, just like the antique. Very pretty, just 2 fabrics. It could be Scrappy as well. We did not do a Scrappy version, but I just want to show you how, you know, they had that little circle in theirs, and look at how sometimes that pattern of the orange peel shows up right in the middle of that block. I thought that was almost on purpose. All right, show the back. It's got a little, sometimes the prints come out looking pink, but this is really only red and cream. But when it's got that light, you know, the contrast between the big dots and the little dots, it actually makes it look pink. Mm-hmm. And those are good for sashings as well when you're using these fabric lines. I love to use, there's a couple of them in this line that are great for sashing. All right, this is, let's show the antique first. I've had this antique for a long time, and I always bring it out at Christmas time and put it on my bed.
It looks like a poinsettia.
Yeah, well, it just, or it looks like, you know, that peppermint candy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so if you look at theirs, they did diamonds. I'm pretty sure this is all hand pieced like a Lemoyne star block. That's all that is here. Okay. So we made this a little different than the antique. We put sashing in front of it. Let's just lay this out once. I want to maybe show the difference, because we did 2 versions of it, but we did one on point. Let's do this one first. All right, so this is the one that looks like the antique. It's got that spacing in it, just 2 fabrics. See that? But we just twisted the block. We made 2 different blocks. So this one is this way, and then this one is one way, this one is different. So there's 2 blocks here. And we were able just to set it with sashing instead of putting it on point like the antique. So much easier construction. I know some people do not like
You showing the back?
On point settings. Yep, we'll show them the back. Same fabric as we used in the front of the quilt.
I can get a grip here.
So there that is, a bigger Baptist fan quilting on that one. All right, so the Scrappy cherry swirl we made on point, and we added we made it not spatial. So do you see how we filled in every other one and made a lot more? This is so fun. Unlike the antique that was made hand piecing diamonds, these are all stitch and flips. So that's a rectangle, that's a rectangle, that's a rectangle, that's a rectangle, and then you sew them together with plain rectangles for the blocks. So very easy construction, very fun to make. Backing, same again as the other one. And on this one we put a smaller modern meander. Much bigger quilt. All right, we'll fold this one back up. Okay, this one is not an antique version. This is one of our creations here. I love stars and I love triangles, so why not combine them in a quilt, right? So this beauty is just made using 2 colors. Red and white, obviously, and 2 fabrics, I mean. So we used the same fabric print, only the light and the dark of the same print. Baptist fan on this one. Beautiful, beautiful. Terry Hillman made these quilts. We made her make both versions. How mean was that? She said she absolutely loved it. Right?
It's a privilege.
And especially since if you make one once, you know. it's much easier to make it again. And if it's not exactly the same and totally different like this one is, so see the same block, but then you use each of the prints a couple times instead of the same two fabrics. Isn't that beautiful? Now what's fun about these quilts is they're great for Valentine's Day, they're great for Christmas, and for putting with, oh, let's show them this back. Look at how beautiful. This is one of the bigger prints in the line. Awesome for backing. Modern meander on this one again as well for quilting.
Good for red and white challenge.
Good for red and white challenge. Yeah, so we love decorating with your quilt. So there also would be, you know, blue and white. You could use these with your blue and white quilts as well for a patriotic setting as well in your home. Okay, this quilt here is the antique. So there she be. All right, just solid red and solid cream. Beautiful, beautiful quilt. And I think just to be nice, we made the triangles a little bigger. Yeah, we were really nice. But what does that mean when you make the triangles bigger? The quilt's gonna be bigger. So this quilt is huge. So the last quilt was called Starry Eye, if I didn't say that. This one is called Love Triangle, because we all love triangles now, right? We're all experts at triangles. Feel this.
It's heavy.
I know, right? This quilt is 114 by 114. Now, why would we make a quilt that big? Because if you wash this quilt a couple times, guess what? It's gonna shrink, and by like 6 inches sometimes. That much. All right,
Even if
so
you hang it
flop
to
this
dry?
over. There we go. Got to watch our mic so we're not like, but look at how big that came out. 9 blocks, just triangles, super simple, just a lot of sewing, and the result is a big king size quilt for you. Now, if you wanted to make this queen size, you know, maybe you don't put these borders on. Maybe you leave it plain or just put a red binding on the edge. Backing on this one is that same polka dot that's in the line that reads pink. Big, big, big feather quilting on that. Look at that. You can do big quilting when the quilt is big and the pieces are big open spacings like that. This would just be so heavy if we did a really dense quilting. Look, you can't even see me on the camera, right? I'm like way over there.
This brings new meaning to weighted blanket,
Yeah,
doesn't it?
that is definitely a weighted blanket. Or quilt. We shouldn't say that B word, right?
Oh, weighted quilts.
Don't say blanket, say quilt. Like, you got to teach your people around you not to call them blankets. Okay. This one is called Diamond Ring. I love this around the star. Again, super easy, stitch and flip. Nothing like the antique version where they had to hand piece all that in there. We'll show you that. We do have an antique of this one. But this one is using 1 cranberry or burgundy around the outside, and then we did the bright reds in the centers. Back. Quilting is the fan again. We love our Baptist fans. Here, go that way. Okay, let's do that antique of that one, and I'm going to turn the page. All right, so this is the diamond ring antique. So I just want to show you close up how they did it in the past with, this is all hand pieced, this quilt is. So to see how they piece these diamonds together, inset these squares in there, all by hand, and that's easily done by hand if you have a lot of time to hand piece, but it's hard to do that on a sewing machine. So we just changed to make the pattern easy with the stitch and flips. all hand quilted. Just so snuggly and worn and loved this quilt is, definitely.
It's definitely
There you
soft.
go.
These are a lot softer than the other ones.
Lots
And thinner,
of
too.
soft. Okay, we're getting down there. We're getting down there. Next up is Bear Hug, which is the quilt behind here on the wall. Now, we absolutely love this antique here. So you kind of see this. Now we're going to show you the antique, and this is the quilt right here that was so hard to figure out. So help me hold this up so I can kind of explain it to them. All right, when you see this, see how nothing is totally sashed all the way around? So this is like a mitered sashing in here. So they could do this because they hand pieced it all. And I think Val came up with a way to do it, but it was like sewing partial seams. And we didn't want to do that because that would totally like freak people out. And we didn't want to do that. So I came up with an alternate version of making this quilt. However, I don't like it as much as I love this. But the option was to either ex-nay it out of the book because we couldn't do it, or to change it slightly, which, you know, sometimes you have to change the quilts. But look at how beautiful those fabrics are. So what I did here is I made the quilt, and at first we were going to cut these all. And I just, in my heart, could not cut these blocks in half. So what I decided to do is to take this outside sashing here and make those the setting triangles on the outside. But when you look, each one of these blocks just has, it's a square in the square, is how we made that. So these ones in the center have the square in the square of all the same center fabric. The ones on the outside have 2 of the center and 2 of the border fabric. So then this is just a border strip added to make that look like it's floating. You could not put that in, but I liked it to be a little bit like it's all floating. And everybody loves the bear paw block, but we called this quilt Bear Hug. And it's super cool, and it looks much better in person than it does in this picture in the book, so keep that in mind. But it is amazing. Just a couple things left. All right, Amy did a beautiful job making Starling here. So I love the feathered star. So here we didn't make a ton of these, but we just made one big one. And you can do this. Amy, I don't think, has ever made a feathered star before, and she said it was a piece of cake. She didn't have any problems at all making those feathered star blocks. Okay, backing on this one, same as what we use in the front. Kind of a little looking, pansy-ish looking print there. Okay, so then last we added a couple little things to tie it into Valentine's Day, so everything wasn't just red and white. We thought we would throw in a couple of pillows using the fabric as a background. This one has wool on it and is hand stitched. And then, of course, these could both be framed. They could both be pillows. This one here, I took some of the scraps left over from making the quilts and added them to the wool hearts here. And then did some fancy stitching around the fabrics. So these are just fused down onto the wool hearts and then stitched with pearl cotton. Love one another. Love you more. Awesome, right? Okay, so that is our trunk show for Red and White Gatherings. Thank you so much for watching our videos. Make sure you go on Stitch with Lisa Bongean on our Facebook group, as well as tell all your friends, share all of our links. We really appreciate that when you talk to your friends about all the cool stuff we do here at Primitive Gatherings. All right, everyone, go to the website and see what you want to get for yourself, because red and white is like, oh, we love red and white. Okay, take care everyone.